Chernobyl nuclear power plant reported lost electricity, and here's what that means. We know that this is in Ukraine near Kiev. Chernobyl's nuclear power plant and all facilities in the Chernobyl exclusion zone have been completely disconnected and are now without electricity, Ukraine's state energy company has announced. Russian forces took the defunct nuclear facility on the very first day, seizing it after heavy conflict. The roughly 210 staff, live science reportedly, are there, and now the plant has been disconnected from the electricity grid. Roughly 20,000 spent nuclear fuel units held in the plant's cooling tanks will no longer receive active cooling. So what does that mean? Ukrainian officials warned this could increase the likelihood of the evaporation and discharge of nuclear material and give a dangerous dose of radioactive material to the plant's personnel. Some nuclear energy experts, however, cautioned that as the spent fuel rods are now 22 years old and much colder than they were, this event is unlikely. The spent fuel rods are at minimum 22 years old. They have very little heat to dissipate, said Mark Nelson. He's managing director of the Radiant Energy Fund, which advises companies and nonprofits about nuclear energy. And that's what he wrote on Twitter. He said, their heat is low enough that experts I've talked to expect weeks or even months to heat the water enough to dry out the pool. Even then, natural air circulation should be sufficient, he said. The Ukrainian State Service of Special Communications Information Protection of Ukraine, SSSCIP, blamed the power outage on damage caused by occupiers, although there is yet to be any independent verification of the cause. Ukraine Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said that Chernobyl plant's reserve diesel generators had a 48-hour capacity. He's called for a ceasefire to restore the electricity. Meanwhile, officials from United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, expressed increased concern for the well-being of the staff there, who'd been held there for the past 2 weeks. Workers would usually leave the radioactive plant after work hours ended, but have now been forced to live at the site. And they're not rotating personnel. And as you can understand, that means they get more radioactive contamination. Systems set up to monitor the nuclear material at Chernobyl's radioactive waste facilities stopped transmitting data to the UN's nuclear watchdog IAEA March 8, Tuesday. Safeguards are the technical measures that the IAEA uses to keep track of nuclear material and ensure it does not fall into the wrong hands. And with these offline, the agency has no way of knowing the location of the plant's nuclear material, increasing possibility it could fall into the wrong hands. AIEI said in a statement that remote data transmission from safeguards monitoring systems installed at Chernobyl nuclear power plant has been lost, and workers have access to food. While workers have access to food and water and medicine to a limited extent, the situation with the staff was worsening. Staff at the facility are responsible for decommissioning the site and ensuring the safe disposal of radioactive material inside the plant's defunct reactor. So this has been put on hold. Prior to the power outage, workers could only be contacted via email. The AIEA Director, General Rafael Grossi, said, I'm deeply concerned about the difficult and stressful situation facing the staff there. He says, I call for effective control of the site to urgently facilitate the safe rotation of the personnel. 8 of Ukraine's 15 operational nuclear reactors are still online. Ukraine's nuclear regulator said in a statement, including 2 at Zaporizhzhia, Live Science previously reported staff of that plant briefly caught fire after being captured and are working. The staff there are working in shifts. Now, radiation at both Chernobyl and Zaporizhzhia has been reported to be at normal levels. This is from Live Science on Science Alert by Ben Turner, Live Science. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.